Stop right there. Yeah, you. If you like all things entertainment, current events, or Hollywood, then look no further. Creator to Creators, hosted by director Miosa Bean of Horror Noir, interviews filmmakers and creatives from around the world. Join in on the fun, guest celebrities, and informative information to have as a creator. Hit subscribe and stay connected to Creator to Creators.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today, we have special guest.
Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Dr. Atousa Mahdavi, and I guess I'll start by giving you a little bit of information about who I am and what I do. I have been in holistic health for about 28 years. I started off as a chiropractor, so I got a degree in chiropractic medicine as a physician. And a few years into that, I realized that my patients needed more than just neuromusculoskeletal care because they had all kinds of chronic ailments. So that led me to the world of integrative medicine and functional medicine. So for the last 17 years or so, I've been doing functional medicine, and for the purpose of self-discovery and introspection, and also some of my own health issues, I also discovered yoga and started practicing yoga. I've been a yoga practitioner for 20 years, but in 2012, I went to India and finished a 6 months program and became a hatha yoga. They call me a master teacher, but whatever that means. And then over there, while in India, they gave us an introduction to Ayurvedic medicine. And it really resonated with me and was in harmony with what I was looking for to add to my toolbox with chiropractic, yoga, and functional medicine. And so when I got back, I went back to school and studied Ayurvedic medicine. So I'm also an Ayurvedic practitioner. And I practice part-time in a clinical setting since like 1996, 1995. Basically the last 7 years, Ayurveda. The last 3 years, I've been a part-time faculty at Southern California University of Health Sciences in the Department of Chiropractic and Ayurveda. That's
Nice.
a little bit about me. And I also published a best-selling book.
Awesome.
Not to forget that. Yeah, it's called Holy You. It's on Amazon. It became an international bestseller on Amazon in 12 different categories. And prior to that, I co-authored a book called The Expert's Cure, and it became a Wall Street Journal and USA Today and Amazon bestseller.
Wow.
Not number one on USA Today, but number 5, but on Wall Street Journal and Amazon was number 1.
Wow.
Those are some of my...
That's amazing. Incredible. Whoever else, next, Kris, you want to go for it?
Yeah, my name's Kris Yousif. I'm an integrative medicine practitioner with my emphasis in Ayurveda.
And Kris is an amazing connector, and I love his energy and the way that he can recognize creativity and talent is really intuitive when it comes to connecting the people, connecting us together. And so
yeah,
in that sense, he is a master in doing that and recognizing genuine skill and intuitive talent.
for sure. Definitely. And Ashley?
Yes, hi. My name is Ashley. I go by Herbal Ash in my practice. I've been practicing for about almost 12 years now. I'm an indigenous medicine practitioner or a plant medicine practitioner. I came across alternative medicine, integrative medicine by chance, in a sense that I had my own health issues starting as a little girl. I had acidic stomach ulcers when I was about 12 years old. And I feel like sometimes there's, I needed support and I needed lemons and really good salts to balance out my electrolytes. And that's something, there's a lot of things that alternative medicine and integrative medicine offer that support neutralizing and alkalizing the body system when you're having chronic symptoms, and they're not recognized in our traditional sense. And so I was going through bottles of Tums and Prilosec and other things that were not working, and actually that created more dysfunction in my digestive system and more symptoms. And then I was in and out of the ER a lot. So but I looked healthy because I was a swimmer, nationally ranked and known. And I also went to, I had Olympic trial times as well as a competitive swimmer and athlete. And then I just came down with chronic health issues in my college years. So that it started probably as in my childhood as a little girl, but then they really escalated, and I just wasn't responding well to traditional medicines. And I had a couple of friends, there's other countries that really recognize apothecaries, essential oils, and other things. And this was close to 20 years ago. I feel like finally now, what a great time to be a healer, because people are recognizing these ancient plant therapies that have been around for several years, thousands of years. And, that really supported me and my system. And then also, as a healer, we get to teach other people to be more empowered with their bodies. And so, there's a place for traditional medicine, and that's for chronic injury or accident. And there's a lot of other things and symptoms and ailments where there's nothing wrong. Your body just needs to go through that process. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, we people in our culture recognize that symptoms is a problem, and then they panic, and then they're in fear. And when you're in a space of alternative medicine, there's an understanding of symptom and a process, and supporting people through that and allowing it and being encouraging and viewing it as optimistic, if you will, rather than detrimental. So anyway, so I just wanted to heal myself. And then with that, I became super passionate and became a healer, and people in my circle of friends and family saw how I had done that. In the meantime, I did systematically, I went to UC Irvine and social scientists, and I minored in educational studies, and I went on to a teaching credential program. And so that teacher in me for K through 6. And then I'm also a mother of my daughter. She is now 13. So I've been very, very active in her school as PTA secretary and room parent. And so I get to be involved in teaching in other ways and other channels through volunteer work. But then I also did some other programs that allowed it's similar to Dr. Atousa. I also too got into yoga 20 years ago when I was dealing with all these health issues, and really tapping into that mental and spiritual body. I feel like as an athlete, I only got to tap into the mental, physical part of myself my entire life. And so recognizing that the divine feminine has a lot to do with our overall health as well, with our spiritual, emotional. So yoga really helped me through that. And then also some other certification programs and everything to become a practitioner in plant medicine.
That's amazing. Wow. I mean, amazing background. I mean, that's really, really cool. I always say, like, I think for listeners who probably don't really know about that world, why is it important for people to consider alternative medicine? I mean,
my thought is if people are tired of the same old routine, which is medication, surgery, vaccines, and seeing your doctor for 15 minutes and kind of getting the runaround, and you kind of leave the doctor's office going, I didn't get enough information. I don't really know what's going on. I really want to heal. And those are the people we want to cater to. People actually want healing and want care, and the system is flawed because you have a system that's just like, here, take this, take that. Let's not worry about anything else.
Right.
Also, the recognition that conventional medicine masks symptoms. It does not recognize the cause of an ailment. and eradicate the cause, which is usually in lifestyle, diet, nutrition, environment, meaning environmental toxins, etc. And unfortunately, they don't have any training in this. And the conventional approach, as far as the training in medical school, is completely looking at masking symptoms, diagnosis, labeling someone with a diagnosis, and long-term introduction of pharmaceutical medication, which have massive side effects, and never looks at what is the way to eradicate what is causing the symptoms, but rather relying on eradicating symptoms, if even that, because many times patients who come to me and other alternative practitioners are saying that I've gone to many doctors and they have put me on medication, but I still feel tired. I still feel no energy, fatigue, body aches, or gaining weight, hair loss, fibromyalgia, you name it. So they still have most of their symptoms.
Right.
And the only thing, certain things that there is place for conventional medicine, I would say it's in the area of infectious disease and acute conditions, that it can be very helpful. Certain surgeries save lives, and certain infections require certain antimicrobial medication, which can do miracles for people. So let's say someone has parasites. Let's say that someone has some sort of a fungus growing, because I've had cases that conventional doctors couldn't diagnose the patient. The patient had all kinds of bizarre symptoms, and they came to me and I said, you're overloaded with fungus and yeast, and you need to go to a doctor and get, the first thing is to let's put a Band-Aid on this, because they had massive skin condition. And finally he went back to the last doctor that he had seen and said, my alternative medicine doctor thinks that I have this, can you test for that? And lo and behold, he was placed on antifungal medication, and those symptoms, the immediate symptoms, which were really bad skin ulcers all over his body, went away. And so because I do not believe that there is no room for conventional medicine. There is room for conventional medicine, but unfortunately, the more our medical system is captured by certain corporations, such as, let's say, pharmaceutical companies, and then the regulatory agencies that are supposed to regulate certain, companies that manufacture these things. Unfortunately, they don't regulate them because they're funded by them. And then I've been around a lot of medical doctors, whether in my family, relatives, or friends, or just by the means of being in healthcare. And they don't have a way to get out of that system, because that's the system that they're working in. And many of them, they wish that the paradigm would shift, because we really need a paradigm shift. As we approach healthcare, in especially the US, but US is the model for the other countries. And if we have this paradigm shift, I think that really changes even the way we emote and the way we approach life. Because if you're constantly dealing with chronic health issues, which in America, there is a crazy statistic about how many people are suffering from chronic condition. I believe it's almost 50% of the population is suffering from chronic ailments. And imagine how that's affecting their lives, how it's affecting their relationships, their work, their productivity, their morale, their hope for life. and popping up pills is not really helping much with chronic ailments. And so we do definitely need a paradigm shift. And I believe that after 2020, when the COVID pandemic happened, and we were told that a lot of the people who did pass away from it, from the infection, had comorbidities, 2 or 3 comorbidities, which means they had 2 to 3 other chronic health conditions, such as heart disease, such as diabetes, such as obesity, asthma. And then suddenly there was a realization that, well, I then need to become healthier. So if I should have encounter with an infectious disease, then my immune system can be strong enough, because my baseline of health is capable enough to fight that infection, and I can have no serious complications and succumb the infection. But yeah, if you look at the statistics by CDC, in the initial statistics, 98% of people who passed away had 2.5 comorbid conditions.
Wow. Wow.
And so I feel like after that, many people are coming towards alternative medicine, looking at holistic medicine. And I even see that at the University Healthcare Center, that they're like, you guys are our last hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. It's a good sign that people are recognizing alternative medicine.
1000%. What about you? Why do you think it's important?
Yes. So I definitely agree with Kris and Dr. Tusa. And I also wanted to also come from a different perspective too, is that now we are, or I should say people or the culture are looking for the reason why, and they want to hear the diagnosis. And when you are a alternative medicine practitioner, we are looking for the root cause, and we understand that the body is interconnected and that everything connects. And so we are getting to the root of the situation. So, for example, and then also with that tied is we have a lot of misinformation and disinformation out there now, with the internet and social media, with people want to hear an answer. Oh, this herb does this herb does that. And it's when you understand herbs and powders and leaves and roots, and they actually do different things for different people, which is why you want to work with a practitioner, so you are getting the correct plant medicine or the correct for your specific needs. We all have different fingerprints. And so when you're working with an alternative medicine practitioner who's been trained, you are getting something customized specifically for your specific needs. And that is imperative. And so what I wanted to say was I recently had a middle-aged man, and the hormones that we first needed to start working with were 3 different hormones. And when he was through with me, and everything is in a positive, uplifting way. Like, I'm so excited to work with people that want to take a look at their health and understand the root cause of how their body works. That's my gift, and I get to share that with people, and that just lights me up and fulfills me. And I had this man, and the wife said later, she goes, you didn't say anything about his testosterone. And I said, well, a lot of people, especially men, pull or use their energy from their kidney adrenal hormone and or their root chakra, which is testes hormone. And the testes hormone isn't the root cause. So I feel like there's an overdiagnosis right now of your testosterone's low or there's a thyroid issue, rather than, not always does that hormone want to be specifically worked on or looked at, because it's not the hormone that's actually having issue. So we need to support his kidney adrenal hormone so his body isn't pulling from the root chakra. So getting to understanding how somebody's body works, and then what's truly needed. So then there's not other symptoms that are actually not related to the actual cause or situation. And working with an alternative medicine practitioner, you're going to get to that root. And so then your other symptoms dissipate. You're sleeping, then your body's actually repairing, your digestive's better. Because especially with him, we're working with the fluid balance when we're working with kidney adrenals, and your colon needs fluid to fiber balance. So I would say that that's what's really important, is getting something customized to you and your body's specific needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that Dr. Atousa and Kris handle the other
Maybe
part.
Kris want to add something.
I think you guys explained everything very well, so I don't have much.
Okay.
I was going to say, because you mentioned COVID, I'm curious, did you think that it was necessary to get it, or do you think that it was that people shouldn't have gotten it, or think that was like a weird message that they were sending out to the public? But everyone was nervous. I mean, I remember being in Los Angeles, shut down, and everyone being in the film industry, where we're like, oh, I gotta work, I gotta be on set, like we have to do this, like we were terrified. This was like nothing like that.
Are you asking, was it necessary to
get it?
COVID, to actually get it?
Yeah.
The thing is, the way that viruses work, number one, viruses, and everybody knows that, like from virology and microbiology, people who study it, I mean, that viruses are designed, or basically they work in such a way that they never want to kill their host. So viruses don't want to kill their host, and they're very sneaky that way. And so basically, the human race has survived all the viruses precisely because there's a process of adaptation. And our bodies form herd immunity, natural immunity, and then herd immunity is accomplished. So what happens, let's say that there is a new virus, let's say, and it starts to spread through a certain population. And as people start to get sick, the role of the virus is to make enough people sick so that the majority of population establishes herd immunity, natural immunity, which in a population we call it herd immunity, that then the virus can continue to live amongst the population with healthy people and survive. The virus wants to survive, so it also wants the population to survive. And so so there is no need to be fearful of viruses. First of all, COVID or SARS-CoV-2 is the same family of the common cold and the common flu and cold. And so is there something new about it? Maybe. I mean, I have my own ideas about it, but which is probably controversial. But it's a fact. Like, I guess now even the mainstream understands that it most likely escaped the lab in Wuhan, and it was a gain of function research basically on SARS-CoV-2, that the gain of function research is usually used for the Department of Defense bioweapons, etc. And I believe that it basically got out of their hand, and somehow, who knows why and how, it skipped the lab. And because of that, a lot of people that initially started communicating through emails with NIH were basically looking at the genomics of the virus, SARS-CoV-2, and they recognize that it cannot be a natural virus, that it was manipulated, because it had certain proteins that basically didn't belong in that family. And so they warned our NIH about this. So because of that, suddenly there was a panic in the public health arena, and they immediately had this very severe restrictions of, social distancing, masking, etc., and immediately went in the mode of creating a vaccine for it. So there was a panic that was created in the public, and that is why, like you just said, like you were so scared because you wanted to continue to work, and you didn't know what to do. Should I just stay home and not being caught? But eventually, to have herd immunity, most of, like, let's say if 70% of the population is infected with the virus, then we can achieve natural herd immunity. And therefore the virus becomes like a common cold virus, right?
Right.
Some people with weaker immune systems will have it twice a year, 3 times a year, and takes them a little longer to get better, but you know how people are used to that. It's fine. You take some vitamins, you take something to be able to function, and it's fine. And some people that have very strong immune systems that you've seen, they never get sick, or they don't catch the cold, etc. So it becomes a common cold virus. But the problem is that we didn't allow natural herd immunity by vaccinating too early.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah. And there is massive amounts of information and books out there. And the problem that you see right now, as more and more people are basically getting sick, is when you vaccinate during a pandemic, you cause natural selective pressure on the gene, on that variant, which means it pushes the virus to become more infectious and stronger, and continuously make variants, meaning
I see.
another variant and another variant and another variant. And that's why people are continuously getting sick.
I see.
And but nothing to fear or worry. If you haven't caught it by now, that means you have a strong immune system. It's also possible that your first line of defense caught it in your mucosal membrane and fought it. So it never went to the second line of defense, where usually you make antibodies and you actually can start having a lot of symptoms.
I see.
And so a lot of people who never caught it had a strong first line of defense, which catches it in the mucosal membrane, your airway passages, your pharynx, larynx, mouth, etc. And with natural killer cells, certain other epithelial cells, it's done. So it never kicks in the second line of defense.
All right.
Which is through creating natural antibodies.
Right.
And so, yeah, fear is the last thing you want to make your decision based off.
Right.
And I think that was another lesson during the last 3 years.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was like, yeah, fear was definitely the thing that I think even got a lot of people sick because of, being scared.
Yeah.
Like we manifested in a way, like, so yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, we have like literally 10 minutes. So please tell us a little bit about, like, for the listeners, where can they find information like of the practice, and where can they follow you guys on social media, or to reach out?
You can follow me or find me on my website, advancedbeta.com, or on Instagram. I really don't post much on Instagram, like Ashley said, because there's so much misinformation. I use Instagram as an exclusive way for clients to talk to me or get a hold of me. And again, that's Advanced Beta, or they can get a hold of me on my cell phone, 714-883-8110. It's pretty simple. Or even email info@advancedbeta.com. But after this podcast, we can put it up there where people can find it easily.
Yeah, we can definitely do it too.
And yeah, me and Kris have teamed up. Of course, we also have the other team members, but in the sense of Ayurveda and functional medicine. And we have great packages that people can look up, because with functional medicine, we do testing, and we do really advanced testing. It's not like the conventional medicine testing. We can test for environmental toxins. We can test for mycotoxins, which is mold. And a lot of people who are continuously getting sick, it's because their immune system is overwhelmed because some dormant mycotoxin or mold has been activated. And environmental toxins are another addition to the toxic overload that causes the immune system to go and, overload and basically start manifesting in a way that it can look like fibromyalgia. It can look like hypothyroidism. It can look like some systemic arthritis or autoimmunity. So there has been a rise in autoimmune conditions. And many people with autoimmune conditions go to conventional medicine doctors and they're really not given any real solutions. But autoimmunity has a lot to do with environmental toxins in your system. These are things that you pick up from pesticides, from even household products, cleansing products, perfumes, from air fresheners, from paint in your home, from synthetic clothing and fabric, from all kinds of plastic products, all kinds of manufactured foams in your furniture, things of that nature, in addition to mycotoxin, in addition to heavy metals. And we test for all of that. And then we start to giving you protocols for detoxification. And then your immune system calms down, your organ system and filters are cleansed. So then your physiology goes back to normal, its normal function. So you can also find me at yourvitalitydoctor.com, yourvitalitydoctor.com, or just look me up by my name. I'm also on Instagram, Dr. Atousa Mahdavi on Instagram. You can find both me and Kris on Kris's website as well. And look up my book on Amazon, Holy You, WHOLLY You, Holy You, and my information is there as well.
I actually have a couple of things to say, if that's okay. That are what was. So I also wanted to go back to what's there's two things. One, I wanted to piggyback on Dr. Atousa when she's talking about the virus and the variants. And exactly, we have hundreds of thousands of viruses out there, and then we want to name just one or two of them, and then they do morph.
Right.
So, and then even in my daughter's science and biology classes, they're teaching in health that there is no cure to virus. That's what they're teaching, right? That there's no vaccination, there's no cure to any virus. And then at the same time, she's like, Mommy, asking me questions. So I'm just, think for yourself. What do you think? Right. So, and as Dr. Atousa said, there is a place for certain vaccines and certain medications and certain things that are needed. And, but anyway, and then also too, when you understand, a lot of my training is in frequencies. And when you understand the frequencies of fear and how low vibration that is, and the frequency of love, for example, which would be the opposite, love, peace, joy. So when things are done in a space of love, peace, joy, and the frequency is so much higher. And there is studies and testings about how when you have low vibration, high vibration, how they cannot coexist. And so when there is something that is very daunting and putting you in a place of fear, you really need to in-tune to yourself and support yourself to move out of that space. And you want to make a decision in a space of love, freedom, peace, joy, high vibration is where you make your decisions.
I love that.
Thank you. Another thing I wanted to say previous to what we were speaking about was another thing that's like I mentioned with the thyroid or the testosterone. Another thing is lately has been mineral testing. You see people that are like, oh, I know this because I did this testing with my hair follicle and these are the minerals that you need. And everybody wants great hair, skin, and nails. And what I found too, working with people, is that we cannot hold on to minerals if we don't have the basic foundational building blocks of nutrition that's already needed, and also a functional working system, right? So you need certain hormones to be functioning properly in order to absorb those minerals. And ideally, you want to absorb those minerals through your food, through your vegetables. And there is support with plant medicine if there is something missing, lacking, or needs a little bit more. But ultimately, we want to support a healthy lifestyle to where you're doing most of the work and teaching way and supporting you with a little bit of supplement here and there, because we want to create balance in the body.
Absolutely. I love it.
My Instagram is at Herbal Ashley, and Ashley at herbalashley.com is, and my cell phone 714-225-2564.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful day. And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.